Your aim might not actually be that bad, you're just building the wrong habits. I used to blame my mechanics every time I whiffed, but after studying Radiance frame by frame and ranking up myself from Silver to Radiant in just 6 months, I realized something that most players never notice. Their aim gets worse the more they practice, not better. And why? Because of 5 hidden habits that slowly destroy your consistency without you even realizing it. In this video, I'll break down each habit and show you exactly how to fix them fast, so grab your notes and let's lock in. You've probably heard from my videos and others that muscle memory is a myth. What that really means when it comes to aim is that changing your sensitivity shouldn't ruin your aim, since your muscles don't actually memorize your sensitivity. And while that's true, a lot of players take this idea to the extreme. Even if changing your sensitivity isn't bad per se, if you're doing it every time you die or after every round you lose, you're making it harder to build your consistency. Yes, pro players and top aimers change your sense depending on the aim trainer scenario, but constantly switching it mid-game hoping it'll magically fix your aim is just delusional. If you want to figure out which sensitivity works for you, load into the range and work on tracking bots with your crosshair while you're strafing left and right from different distances and speed. If you notice that your crosshair tends to lag behind the bot a bit, you can try bumping your sensitivity up. If you notice that your crosshair looks a bit jittery and almost too stiff, try lowering your sensitivity. And once you land on a sweet spot with your sensitivity, commit to it for at least 2 weeks without touching it. That way we break the habit of changing our sensitivity every round. Now, sticking to your sensitivity is important, but ensuring that you're not mindlessly aim training is just as important. You've probably tried practicing by using aim trainers and going to the range, but there are so many different options and nothing really seems to work. And that's because everyone has their own weaknesses and needs to train with a personalized approach. If you're tired of trying your best and still whiffing key shots in front of your friends, you should try the Immortal Roadmap program. My team of a dozen Radiant and VCD coaches can give you personalized feedback on your mechanics, game sense, and so much more. You'll join other like-minded players and you'll become a better player in every aspect. So much so that our average student gains 500 RR in just 10 weeks, and here's what a lot of them have to say about the program. And we're so confident in getting your results that if you don't gain 500 RR in 10 weeks, we'll give you a full refund. We have 32 spots out of 50 left, so use the link below to book a free call with me or one of our coaches to see if you'd be a good fit. Now, even if you stick to one sensitivity, that doesn't mean your aim is fixed. If you have the habit of only aiming at the enemy's head in every scenario, you'll never get out of plat. The truth is that everyone wants to hit crisp headshots like Tens or Aspas, but if you tunnel vision on that one tap and miss, you've probably just thrown the round. Most players aren't consistent enough yet to land those shots every time, and that's okay. But if you fix this habit, you'll win way more fights and maybe even start hitting those clips anyway. So where do you start? Simple, ask yourself, do I want a flashy clip or do I want to win the round? Personally, I want wins, I want elo. So I train myself to focus on the kill, not just the headshot. Yes, you should aim for the head, but in some close range fights, it's just not realistic. The enemy is going to be moving way too fast and you're more likely to miss the head compared to the body. Imagine peeking double doors on Haven. It's essential to judge how close the enemy might be after you peek the angle. If they appear right in front of you, they'll likely be too close for an easy headshot. In that case, aiming for the body is a safer option. The same applies if you're sitting in a smoke. If someone pushes through, unless you're prime 10s, hitting the head is very hard. The time to kill in situations like this will be considerably lower than in normal gunfights. Just shooting at the body is just a safer option. Also, if you hit the body in a mid-range gunfight, this will allow you to tag the enemy, slow them down, and secure easier kills with your spray control. So trust me, fixing this bad obsession with just getting your headshot rate up will actually make a huge difference in getting consistent kills and wins. Alright, now this next habit might be a bit counterintuitive. Most players overlook working on their passive aim, even though it's one of the most essential skills in Valorant. Passive aim is your mouse control when you're not in the middle of a gunfight, while your active aim has to do with how you control your mouse during an actual gunfight. A lot of people who join my coaching program have the bad habit of only training their active aim, which is their flicks, micro adjustments, and tracking, but they completely ignore working on their passive aim, and it's killing their consistency. But why? Take a look at this scenario. You peeked out of main and your crosshair is nowhere near the enemy. Now you're forced to hit an insane wrist-breaking flick to land a headshot in half a second. Then you die and you blame the enemy for one-tapping you before you even had the time to shoot. That example might seem extreme, but it's actually closer to the truth than you might think. Having good passive aim lets you play without needing to rely on those crazy shots. If your crosshair is reliable and already where the enemy appears, your gunfights will become more consistent. It's an incredibly powerful skill to master, but also one of the hardest. You need to be aiming at the right spot at all times, which takes awareness, game sense, discipline, and practice. So how do you improve your passive aim and start getting easier kills in these scenarios? First, you can try aim lab drills like float shot or VCT bind defense. They train you to pre-aim and hold angles instead of having to flick late. It's a great way to sharpen your passive aim without relying on your reaction speed. Alternatively, if you prefer to sharpen your passive aim skills in-game, you can use this task. Load into a custom game and wander around the map looking for different head height indicators. For example, this can be lines on boxes or wall. Once you get the hang of where these indicators are, just restart the round and simulate how the round might play out. Ask yourself, where would an enemy peek from? Where should I hold my crosshair? And how should I prepare for the peek? You can practice these scenarios on every map, and you can also start to apply them in your deathmatch game. And then you can apply that same mindset into your actual ranked games, and you'll notice a dramatic improvement in your passive aim. Now that your passive aim is improving and you're landing easier shots, let's talk about the way you actually train your aim. Because here's the truth, even if you're practicing every day, you might still be stuck simply because you're doing it wrong. When it comes to aim training, I often see the same mistake. Players focus on scenarios that they enjoy rather than the ones that they need to play in order to improve. They'll copy pro aim lab or Kovacs routines, forgetting that those routines were built for entirely different players. Pro player routines work because they're built around years of testing and refinement, but you can't fix your aim with a one-size-fits-all band-aid solution. That's why I'm going to give you 3 different routines that cover every core part of your aim with no fluff. For a stopping and tracking drill, load into the range and click the practice spot mode. Stand far back towards this ledge, then pick a bot and aim at its head. Move forward while tracking a bot, then suddenly stop, shoot, and flick to a new bot. And after shooting, move elsewhere around the range using all the walls to your advantage. For a general movement drill, shoot 2 dots on the wall. Focus on moving left to right, stopping as close to these dots as possible. This will help you practice your movement during gunfights. Next, for a cross replacement drill, go into a standard deathmatch. Focus on peeking from different elevations as much as you can. This will help you get a better feeling for when you're in these awkward fights, which many players struggle a lot with. And once you can identify your weaknesses through playing different aim trainers or simply just playing the game, focus on those weaknesses by playing curated playlists. And if you're not sure where to start, some playlists that I recommend using are the Valorant Ramp Warm-Up by Minigod and Assez Valorant, available in AimLab's Steam Workshop section. Hopefully by now, you have a general idea of what you need to work on next. But this last habit that I'm about to share with you guys is something almost everyone falls for, and it makes your practice way less effective in actual games. Here's the truth, staying mentally locked in while playing Valorant isn't optional, it's essential. But most players fall into the same trap, which is autopiloting. That's when you zone out mid-fight or even while holding an angle and get caught slipping. And the crazy part, it's easy to spot if you know what to look for. For example, you're holding sight, lose focus, and maybe your eyes wander around the screen, someone swings and you're caught off guard. Think about it, when you die and can't even explain why, that's autopilot. If you're losing focus during the game, you're not playing at your best. And that's a habit that's quietly ruining your aim, and it needs to go if you want to rank up during this new season. And I know staying always focused isn't easy, but if you train your focus like your aim, you'll break the habit fast. Something you can do while you're in game is thinking about having a mental mini-map. What I mean by this is that you're mentally tracking the enemy's movements around the map in your head to always keep you engaged. It helps you both stay mentally locked in and also aware of the enemy's macro game. You can also add micro aim twitches or micro movements while holding angles to keep your eyes focused. And I'm not making this stuff up. Check out pros like Kong Kong doing it. And another trick that you might have heard of is an eye focusing warm-up. You can find these on YouTube, and there's some evidence that these can actually help. Alternatively, if your attention equals one of a goldfish, load into a deathmatch, head over to settings, and in general, scroll down until you see hide user interface in game. Then mute all game sounds. From there, just focus on your crosshair and nothing else. No distractions, no noise. You want to simply focus on where your crosshair is in relation to the enemy and nothing else. And later, you can re-enable sound and your HUD, but for now, stay locked in on the fundamentals. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to check out my other videos. Thanks for watching.